what are the potential new routes to be added? Right now you're flying Lagos and London. What are the other routes to come? Are those just, what the package that Air Sierra Leone would be offering, or what's more?
So now we're consolidating the Lagos and London routes. As we said earlier, we're doing quite well. The markets are growing nicely. We've already made the applications for a number of stations in West Africa. So the next one on our target is Accra. We are studying the market further north of Freetown. So we are looking at Monrovia. We are looking at Banjul, Dakar, for example, Conakry. So we can't grow too fast. We have to plan the routes and execute them slowly over time. But Accra's application is very advanced. So we hope to announce that soon and bring in more aircraft as well. So if you remember, I think when we were here last time, Victor especially had a good conversation about making Freetown into a hub. We are Sierra Leonean, our aeroplanes are parked here, they're coloured, the aircraft are coloured in our national colours. So what we want to do is make Freetown the hub and build feeder services into Freetown and then connect to some of the bigger routes. So, somebody wanting to fly from Dakar to Lagos can go via Freetown. Somebody wanting to fly from Accra to London, BA flies 14 times a week to Accra, but we can give them alternative and we'll focus on product, reliability and cost. Make it a little bit more affordable, but fly them and transit them through Freetown. So part of the regional expansion is really, really part of our bigger strategy, but we'll do it one station at a time because of the complexity of launching new stations. But I look forward to Accra. We should be talking about Accra in about the next month's time. So hopefully we'll be back for that.
There is a level of partnership with aircraft across. Sometimes you would pick one flight that would take you to one country on transit, and to move to your next destination, you're connecting to a different aircraft, and you just bought your ticket from one airline.
That's right.
What strategic partnerships is Air Sierra Leone working on?
So what you just said there is interline. So you could land in London and catch a BA flight to Frankfurt, for example. So you could fly from here to London on us, Air Sierra Leone, and then, for example, you could fly on to Germany on a BA flight. So that's called interline, where we partner with different airlines. You've got to remember, Air Sierra Leone is still a young airline. It's only 6 months old. So before you can do these bigger commercial arrangements with the big boys, let's say, which have vast networks, you really need to prove yourself. So you need to embed those routes. You need to show the market that you're reliable, you're consistent, etc., because the big boys aren't going to partner with you if you're unreliable. So it takes a little while to graduate, but I can tell you we've been approached by 2 large aviation groups who are interested to talk to us for the long term. But again, we have to keep our feet on the ground and focus on product delivery and the core basics of aviation. We have to be on time, our aircraft have to be reliable, and we just need to spend a bit of time, proving our worth to the bigger boys. But we've already attracted them because there's no strategic or large carrier in West Africa. We talked about this with Victor before. On the east side, you've got Ethiopian, very famous, very established, and that took years, decades, to get to the stage where they are now. Kenya Airways kind of is a big boy on the East Coast, kind of lost its way a little bit, but they've refocused their business now and they're growing again. So West Coast, there's still an opportunity for a mega carrier. And I think we've got big markets in the West Coast that need connectivity, certainly into Europe and into the Americas. So that takes time, and that's part of our 5 to 10 year vision, because the new boy getting to London within 3 months actually, of launch is a big deal, and we've attracted everybody's attention. But we just need to sort of consolidate, take step by step. But we're open to conversation with everybody. We've been approached by 2 parties, and we know what we want. We know our goal, which is why we focus on the future, not the past. But there's a lot of good things to come from Air Sierra Leone. It could be easier, but it's never easy. But we've got a massive resolve to make this work. We've got a lot of experience on the board and the management team, and we know what we need to do over the next 3 to 5 and then the 10-year period.
How frequently do we fly?
Lagos we do 3 times a week. London we're currently starting out It's very capital intensive, it's very costly, so we don't want to saturate the market and, blow our budgets. In fact, our budget is, we start 2 times a week and then we go up to 3 times a week, and then we'll see how it goes. Remember, aviation, peaks and troughs. You've got your high season, low season. So summer holidays, Christmas period is high season. The voids between those periods tend to be a little bit quieter. So when we did the business case for London, we know the annual total of passengers that fly to London from Freetown via Ethiopian, or via Royal Air Morocco, or all of these competitors. So we know the size of the market. This is part of our business planning and analysis and route analysis. So, if we can capture a fair amount of that market because we are direct, you can cross the water in the morning and you could be having supper with your family in London or, in the Midlands by 6 p.m. in the evening. So, that direct service cuts out a lot of transit times, right? And extra flying, which you don't need to do, to Ethiopia and then back. You're crossing Africa just to go back across Africa again. So all these things are factored in. And I think, when the market understands this, the unique selling propositions, they see our aircraft, they taste the hospitality, and they realize that this is real and that, you are direct point to point in 6 hours, I think that's where we'll gain the main advantage.
Augustine, last time, I'm not sure you were on set, but I did suggest that the carrier started printing magazines, leaflets and what have you, back of the seat, so that people get to understand the vastness of our tourism in Sierra Leone. How far has that fared?
Well, as Suk said, we're only starting up. We want to firstly tick some boxes, more relevant boxes, that are required by the regulators. And when it's time for us to actually get to the other points that we also need to keep our business as well as the tourism and other aspects of, the country, on the flights, we'll get to that. It's not far away. We've been in touch with a few printing houses, and a few CEOs of magazines, mostly local businessmen who are interested in, doing the magazines for us. We've also been in touch with people who are interested in having their stories and their commercials on the magazines, and we hope that once we get to that, we would have companies like AYV having their commercial on our, because you have investors coming in. The first point that they contact is the airline, and what they read there is probably what would stay with them as they enter into the country. So we want to see how we could get the best quality, but then also the best people to be able to do that for us. And once we get that sorted out, you would see it's Victor. But then, quite apart from that, Victor, when are you flying with us?
Soon, by the grace of God. Soon.
Phebean, when?
It shall be soon.
As soon as. Very soon.
Well, look, he's wearing red, white, and blue, so he's nearly there, right? Did you wear that for us today?
But
he's on his way.
Beyond just the magazine, what other opportunities does Air Sierra Leone present to, say, the creative industry, for example? There are people who do films, music. And on the aircraft, there's always a TV screen that shows films and music. What opportunities do you make available for this sector?
So, Phebean, that's an important question. Now, when you hear Suk speak about aviation, it seems as if he's a professor from Harvard now. He knows
too old now. Been around too long.
But then, we've had this knowledge gap when it comes to aviation for over a decade. Part of what Air Sierra Leone is doing is to inspire the skill into young people. So when it comes to a time when people like Suk would not be here again, you'd still have people like me who would then have the professional experience and expertise to put out the message to people out there and also communicate the operations and regulations. We're really, really keen on pushing skills, not just within the aviation aspect, but then also things that would complement the aviation, like the film industry. A couple of weeks ago, we sponsored a movie launch, and we brought in some movie stars across Africa, this one, Elliot, involved. So we are really, really, really inspired by, goals that align with the things that we've set. So once we have, for now, we don't quite have the kind of entertainment that could, accommodate, screens. But we're working on that fervently. I mean, I would break the news at any time from now that we now have this and these are the movie selections that we would do. But when we are doing that, we want to look at what is, present in Sierra Leone here, but then quite apart from that, what again match the kind of quality that you want to put, because mark you, we're not just doing this for Sierra Leoneans. We've now had passengers flying in from other nations. When they come and turn on the screen, they have to see movies that really depict stories that and clicks with them, and stories that also feels relatable to them. So we're doing that. We also have other small goals that we're looking at. It's something that we can't quite see all at a go, but once those things are on the ready, we would unfold them and would make them public too.
The aircrafts are now sort of like a duty-free shopping center on their own. It's very easy now on the aircraft. They make that announcement as often as they can that you can shop while in the aircraft. And that in itself is also a business opportunity for businesses in Sierra Leone. Business to business collaboration and opportunities beyond just the creative industry now. What's available with Air Sierra Leone?
So I told you we have different plans. It's also part of our plans. 3 months ago, we did not even have a jingle on the radio. But if you tune into Capital Radio now, Slick TV, Epic Radio, and I think AYV, you'd hear the jingle of Air Sierra Leone. We have piles of these things lined up. We want to take our time. The operations in itself is capital intensive. So we're looking at what is really germane to the things that we do right now, and tick them. I'm sure before the end of this year, we would have been able to establish a lot of partnership and identify a lot of, people and institutions that we want to work with. And we would also would be able to identify by then, the goals within this country that we would want to promote as part of our corporate social responsibility. But all of that is within our plan.
The promotions obviously have an expiry date. It's got a lifespan. How much longer are these promotions going to run? You asked me when I would fly. How much longer are the promotions going to last?
So what we had a couple of weeks ago was a promotion inside a promotion. So our current fares, which is $750 for return tickets to and for the UK, was a promotional fare. But then we had to do an Eid promotional fare within the normal promotional fare that we are currently operating on, which was $500. That is gone for now. But then the price that you have is still the most affordable, it's still the most reasonable. I don't want to call it cheap, by the way, but it's still the most reasonable within the sub-region for that particular route. I don't want to call the shots. My boss is here. He makes some of the financial decisions. So he would look at.
The lifespan of the promotion.
Sorry. Go ahead, Bona.
But what I would say is, we're here to make traveling really affordable for Sierra Leoneans. We understand the economic status, and we also understand that in introducing ourselves to our customer base, we have to also look at, their financial position. Certainly, we would get to the point where I would say, okay, this is the threshold. But for now, it is easy, it is affordable, and I'm sure Sierra Leoneans are really, really appreciative of it.
Just to bolster that, everything you've said is just music to my ears, because it's great that the market wants to talk about the value add, the real moving forward of the sector. So just to bolster what Bona said, come winter season, we will have flatbed business class seats in this aircraft. Okay, the reason we couldn't do it right now, because it was a quick launch, and we couldn't get, summer season in Europe is very, very busy. So in order to convert the aircraft with flatbeds, we couldn't get a hangar. Quite literally, we just couldn't schedule a slot with the hangars in the UK. So that product is ready, and it will be launched for winter season. We've got a window to take the aircraft out for a few days into the hangar, reconfigure the seats in, so we'll have economy and flatbed business, TV screens, etc., etc. So that will come in the winter. And Victor, great question about the entertainment on board. Starting with the magazine, Bonner said it exactly as it is. You know, it's on our wish list. You know, there are so many things which we're working on. That's definitely on our wish list, and that's the first thing the person touches. They see, you know, Sierra Leone. They want to see the results. They want to see some of the cultural aspects. You know, they want it's the first engagement really. So you're absolutely right.